So this is the next slide.
Just a second, sir.
Yeah, sir. As far as the corporate services divisions are concerned, there are three major verticals which we have in our corporate services division. One of the verticals is called registry services. Another vertical is the tax services vertical, and another vertical is the secretarial services vertical. If you see our registry services vertical, we provide share registry services to both listed and unlisted companies. As far as tax services vertical is concerned, we help clients file TDS returns and we help them file GST returns. And as far as the secretarial services are concerned, we help the clients to incorporate their companies, assist them with annual filing of returns, and provide them filing in XBRL services. So these are the three major verticals we have in our corporate services. Going forward, I will be speaking about the registry services, and Mr. Chandrasekhar will be speaking about tax services and secretarial. So I'll continue with the registry part of our corporate services. Next. We have listed some of our major clients. We serve nearly a vast majority of blue chips in the country are serviced by integrated as far as share registry is concerned. And we are among the top 5 registrars in the country. So we have given a brief introduction of the major clientele which we service. Next. So what I am going to concentrate here is about ISIN for unlisted and private limited companies for demat of their shares and other instruments. By ISIN, we refer to International Securities Identification Number for companies for converting their shares and other instruments which the companies have issued into demat mode. So what are the benefits of having the shares in demat, and what compliances can the company achieve by having the shares in demat is our objective in this session. What does integrated do? Integrated, as I said clearly, integrated is a registrar and transfer agent. We are a category 1 registrar and transfer agent, and we are enabling unlisted and private limited companies to admit themselves with depositories. Integrated is connected with both the depositories present in the country, NSDL and CDSL. These are the two major depositories available in the country, and integrated has connectivity with both the depositories. And if you see currently, all over the country is now progressing fastly in terms of manufacturing and services industries. Both industries are manufacturing rapidly, and there are a lot of new unlisted clients who have come up. These clients are basically startups, and they are looking at quality registrar and transfer agents who can provide them with facility to demat the securities which have been issued by them. Keeping that in mind, Integrated has taken steps to tap that market, provide service to these type of companies, and ensure that these companies are handled properly and they are admitted to the depository system. So our company takes steps to admit companies which want to demat with the depositories and make them part of the depository system in the country. And what are the advantages of holding shares and other securities in demat? This is a major question all the clients will have, and the learned audience present here will also have. What are the advantages you have when you are holding shares and securities in demat mode? See, the current environment is of era where the compliances are at its topmost requirement. Every company, irrespective of whether they're a small company which has incorporated recently, whether you're a startup who's turning unicorn, or whether you are a limited company who have been in existence for a long time, compliances have now reached its stage where they are occupying most of the time for the companies. So what happens is, once you demat your shares and enable your shareholders to demat, the compliance system becomes very simple for the companies. The major headache every year, like which our secretarial team will dwell upon, like filing of register members to ROC, generation of reports for statutory auditors, all can be simply to a great extent if we demat the shares and other instruments issued by the company. And if you see the unlisted space, there is practically every day the country is issuing shares to a lot of investors who are pumping money into the country through the FDI route, or through the domestic investors who are pumping money into various unicorns in the country. So any allotment of securities can be done directly in Demat, and by doing in Demat, you are providing great transparency to the investor who is investing shares in the company, and the process is also simplified to the issuer. Issuer in the sense, for example, you are a company, you are issuing shares to an investor, and instead of issuing them in physical, if you issue them in Demat, the investor will have a lot of confidence in the company. It provides transparency to the investor and gives you great control over your compliances. And the good thing which has happened in the last 10 years is our deposit system has evolved to a great extent that we can now literally demat any instrument which the company has issued, starting from an equity share to variable equity to various type of preference shares to various type of debentures and various type of commercial papers and certificate of deposits. Any instrument you name in the Companies Act, which the companies are permitted to issue, those instruments can be now admitted to the depository system and can be dematted. Next slide. Why integrated? There are many players in the register and transfer agent. What is the unique advantage integrated provides to the companies as a register and transfer agent? We have developed a fully online system called iConnect, where the companies can admit themselves to a depository through a totally online process without any sort of paperwork. It's a totally end-to-end online system where even payments can be made to the depositories and the register and transfer agents in an online system, and all documentation can be uploaded to our servers, which will in turn be transmitted to the depositories directly. Another major thing is we are trying to provide an end-to-end system, and our experienced team has designed the system in such a way that the technology enables the issuer to not to have any hiccups, and he can proceed very smoothly with registration with the company. Demat and custodial services are directors and promoters. If you see, the major objective of any private limited company or an unlisted limited company for them to demat is directors and promoters want to demat their shares, and integrated provides demat facilities for directors and promoters also, enabling them to hold shares, and custody of the shares are held by integrated. Any company which is private limited or an unlimited company which is looking for demat, the major problem these companies are facing is they are unable to fully understand the depository system, and there are various queries at various stages of the admission process, which at a certain stage becomes burden for the company as they are limited by the manpower they have. So integrated has stepped in. We have provided a proper help desk, and the help desk is operational at any time of the day, and proper handholding is done to the clients to ensure that they have proper comfort levels and all their questions are answered. Wherever handholding is required, proper handholding is done to ensure that they have a smooth process for admitting their securities with the depository. Next. So with this, I share our contact details and coordinates of our Chennai and Bangalore divisions. So if any queries are there, you can please contact us for demat of your shares. Now I hand over the presentation to Mr. Chandrasekhar, who will continue with the secretarial and tax services part of the presentation.
Thanks, Mr. Giridhar. Good evening, Mr. President B. Nagappan, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, and other office bearers of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce for giving us an opportunity to present our business services rendered by Integrated. Okay. I welcome all the other participants to this Zoom meeting. See, Integrated is doing secretarial services for all the clients, private limited as well as the unlisted and listed companies. Nowadays, statutory compliance has become a very big headache for the promoters or the entrepreneurs. So failure to comply with some statutory obligation can cause severe legal consequences, not only to the company as well as its directors. The corporates can rest assured if they give their secretarial services to us as a one-stop solution, we can provide them with all the corporate solutions at a single point of time. Various services rendered by us are as follows. We help the clients in obtaining this detailed signature for them, as well as obtaining then KYC for the directors, incorporation of a companies or an LLP, and maintenance of minutes books and statutory registers, and annual filing of documents, both XBRL as well as non-XBRL services, and FEMA compliances with respect to allotment and transfer of shares with respect to the secretarial services. As far as the secretarial things are concerned, There are two things. One is a routine thing and the other is non-routine thing, or what we call it as a one-off event or a special event. The routine things are classified in this schedule, saying that the periodic board minutes of board meeting as well as the shareholders meeting, and then the routine annual approval of annual accounts, appointment of auditor, preparation of notice of AGM, director's report, and other necessary form filings, including preparation of documents and filing with the MCA. As far as the special events are concerned, there may be a special event called appointment, resignation, or of a director, or change of a company name, or shifting of register office, or alteration of share capital, or alteration of MOA, AOA. Those we call it as a special event, for which also you would require proper convening of a board meeting, providing notice of agenda to all the board of directors well in advance, and then holding of a board meeting in a proper manner and recording it in a minutes book for both board meetings as well as the shareholders meeting with respect to this special one-off event. We at Integrated, with the experienced team, provide the client with the background materials and the necessary documents in preparation, right from sending the notice of agenda to the board of directors, conducting of the meeting, preparation of minutes, preparation of necessary documents, and filing of the forms with MCA. In addition to all these things, we also help the clients in incorporating a company or an LLP or any change in LLP like partners change, appointment or cessation or any other Form 8, Form 11 kind of a thing. We also provide the companies who are not in a position to continue with their business to go for a voluntary strike off of their company, provided they satisfy the provisions of Section 248 of the Companies Act. In addition to that, we help the companies in raising their share capital either by way of rights issue, preferential issue, or in case of a share transfer and share transmissions. In all these cases, we at Integrated provide the relevant back papers and all the other documents and requirements which is required for form filing with MCA. Further, we have been serving more than 200 private limited companies and unlisted companies through our secretarial support. What are the advantages of Integrated is they can access anytime, in the sense that if they require any query or any guidance from that, they can call me or my team to have a clarification on those things. In addition to that, we provide iComply. It's an online portal in which all the documents filed with MCA, the forms or any other document, board resolutions, board minutes, shareholders minutes, or any other document can be uploaded by the client with the help of Integrated team. Initially, what we are doing is to reduce the burden of the client. From our side, we will upload all those documents when they get admitted into the system. Once they get admitted into the system, afterwards, on their own, they can upload the document or they can inform us to assist in uploading the documents, and we are free to do it. Now, let us come back to the tax services rendered by Integrated. As you may be aware, we are one of the 10 felicitation centers appointed by Protean, S12, NSDL e-governance on behalf of the Income Tax Department. See, what we are doing is we provide the services of data conversion as well as filing of ETDS returns, quarterly returns within the prescribed time for the body corporate, as well as whatever the regular period of things. Either it may be a monthly return or of or some other thing, quarterly returns. And we also facilitate the client in the statements and filing of those statements electronically as per the guidelines issued by the necessary authorities. We also facilitate issuing TDS certificate Form 16A at the end of every quarter and filing the ETDS statements whenever needed at the request of the client. Next, we move on to the NPS scheme. See, as you may be aware, NPS is regulated by Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, which comes under the Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance. recently, PFRDA launched a separate model called NPS, Corporate Sector Model, to provide NPS to the employees of corporate entities, including PSUs, since December 2011. The salient features of this NPS corporate sector model is it is prudently regulated and then low cost involved. It ensures complete portability, flexibility, and also simple and web enabled. What I call prudently regulated is the investment norms are very transparent. It is regularly monitored and the performance of fund managers are reviewed by NPS Trust. In case of low cost, it is the lowest cost pension scheme in India. And further, it ensures complete portability. That is, account can be operated from anywhere in the country, irrespective of location of employment or something like that. Flexibility in the sense, the investor can choose the wide range of pension fund managers and also the investment mix part of it. And all the transactions can be viewed online through the CRA system. Both the employer and the employee can check the fund and contribution status through CRA website. So, see, the major benefits to corporates are, it is the implementation cost is very zero, to be frank. And then contributions by employer can be claimed as business expenditure, which is a huge advantage for the corporates. And there is no prerequisite for trust formation, managing of books, which involves auditing and other things. And it is also an hassle-free administration. As far as the benefits to employees are concerned, it is the cheapest mode of making investment with long term. That is, after their retirement, they can get the lump sum amount. And the choice of the various funds availability and the investment pattern is also most beneficial to the employees. In addition to the main benefit is, there is an additional tax benefit of up to 50,000 under Section 80 CCD 1B over and above Section 80C, which is capped at 1.5 lakhs. And there is a portability of account is there, and employee can choose the asset class and the investment option at his best. So in a nutshell, we offer securities in DMAT, as well as we are offering DMAT to the promoters as well as the directors of the company. We offer secretarial services right from the incorporation of the company till maintenance of statutory books and minutes, and filing of annual returns and accounts with MCA, both in XBRL mode and non-XBRL mode. The other thing is filing of ETDS returns and GST returns, which is a huge cumbersome activity nowadays for corporates, and we are doing it from our end, which is a great help to all the small companies. And then NPS services to both corporates as well as the corporate employees. And we are giving opening and maintaining the DMAT account to the promoters, directors, and KMBs of unlisted and small private limited companies. For any queries, you can just call me on my mobile number 98410-85273, or for any tax related services, you can call Mr. Anand 9500-01530. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giridhar and Mr. Chandrasekhar. That was a very crisp presentation. May I now, any questions from audience?
I have asked a question to Mr. Giridhar, and he has answered it, but for the benefit of others, I think probably I'll ask that question once again. I just asked him whether you handhold any SMEs, because predominantly, most of our members are SMEs, and if any one of our, the SME want to go for a listing in SME stock exchange, small and medium enterprises stock exchange, do you handhold? And I think the other thing, I think Mr. Giridhar said, he said they can handhold. They have tied up with a few merchant bankers. But my request to you, Mr. Giridhar, is that I think you should also have, you yourself should, like RTA, you should be a merchant banker also, because there is quite a lot of requirement in Chennai And I'm sure that you will consider it, and you should take it up and come out, take up merchant banking activity also as a part of your other activities. The other question I asked about is demat of insurance policies and education certificate. Mr. Giridhar, probably you can answer that question.
Yeah, I will answer, sir. Yeah. Thank you for your suggestion. We'll definitely consider your requirement of an merchant banking services from integrated. We'll definitely take it up with the management and discuss internally and see how best we can do this. But as a matter of current situation, we do definitely handle a lot of companies here, both in Bangalore and Chennai for SME IPOs, and there has been long-standing discussions with both NSE and BSE who do have offices in Chennai and Bangalore, who have been actively working with the local register and transfer agents to see whether SMEs can be onboarded fast to their SME platform. So definitely we will envisage this in the future and definitely take steps to see what we can do in the merchant banking. As far as insurance, demat of insurance policy, it is definitely doable, sir, and but that requires a different setup. And integrated, two insurance policies can be dematted. Integrated currently does not, as a registrar and transfer agent, do any activity on that front. So we'll explore that opportunity also and see what best can be done, sir. And education policy, you are aware that government has shifted totally the educational certificate platform to DigiLocker. So there may not be a depository intervention there. So the educational certificates are going to be processed on the DigiLocker front. So this is the position as far as insurance policies and educational certificates are concerned.
The other question is to Mr. Chandra. Chandrasekhar, regarding the secretarial compliances offered. I've asked him about OPCs, the 1% companies. Have you handled any? And if so, I mean, how difficult or different it is from LLPs or other private limited companies? Because that's a new concept. I mean, it's not a new concept exactly. It's, I think, 7-8 year old. It's allowed in India 7-8 years back. But I've not heard of many people coming out with 1% company, though it is a very interesting concept. I don't know why. Is the compliance very difficult than the normal compliances? I don't know. Have you handled any? If you have handled any, you can share your experience. Otherwise,
yes, sir, we have handled OPCs also.
Okay.
See, as far as the statutory requirements are concerned, there is no difference between the LLP, OPC, and the private limited companies or the listed companies, because mandatorily yearly they have to do the director KYC and annual balance sheet filing and annual return filing. So one of the advantages of OPC is there is no board meeting requirement, there is no AGM requirement and other things. But as you said, though it has been 7 to 8 years since the MCA allowed OPCs to function, still it is in the nuance and stages. The main reason for those things are they are finding it very difficult to obtain bank borrowings. Even the LLPs are finding it very difficult to obtain loan from bankers, because the bankers are providing loan only to the private limited company or a public limited company. So they are resisting themselves when at the time of disbursement or at the time of sanction of the loan itself. So that is the major drawback of this OPC or LLP. Other than this, the filing requirements are almost similar to all the companies.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions?
I have a question on dividend reissuance from Mr. H.R. Mohan. So I will answer that. Mohan sir had asked, what happens when my dividend remains unpaid? My instrument is not unencashed, it remains unencashed after the 3-month period. How do I get it reissued? You typically approach the company or the register and transfer agent with the stale instrument and ask them to reissue the dividend with a request letter addressed to the company or the register and transfer agent. So once you do that, if you hold shares in the demat board, please give a copy of the client master list of your demat account, which should contain ideally the updated bank particulars of your of the persons holding the shares. This will enable you to receive dividends directly into your demat account, and the question of instrument becoming stale will not arrive, at least going forward. In case you hold shares physically, please approach the company for a proper KYC updation so that your banking details and other PAN details are, as you know, now going from 2020 onwards, dividend is taxable at the hands of the investors rather than the dividend distribution tax which was in place. So DDT has been abolished. Now we are working in a system where dividend is taxable in the hands of the investors. So it is prudent for all shareholders who hold shares in physical mode also to approach the register and transfer agents or the companies to update their KYCs to ensure that their statuses are captured properly at the register transfer agent or the company end, so that you get the proper tax rates against the dividend payable to you. So, and his last part of his question was, how long does it take for a dividend reissuance to be? Then typically it should not take more than 7 to 15 days for a dividend to be reissued. So there is no specified timeline in the act, but all good companies turn around the reissuance request within 7 to 15 days of the date from which the request has been received at the company.
Any other questions?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Giridharan. I'm Linesh here. I have a specific question. Like, can you hear me clearly?
I'm able to hear you well and loud, sir, please.
Yeah. So now, it is, I'm just taking a typical example of an MSME company. And basically it's a, family run business. So now over the period of time, you have, one generation and another generation all coming in. And it's a private limited company and it is not listed. But then since the family size grows and that many share certificates which are there, which is all maintained manually, is there any way these can be digitized? And, we don't have the normal process, because sometimes you have the daughter of the family getting married and then you have those certificates which are being shifted from one person to another and all those things. So what is the possibility and what is the process in doing this? Can you please tell us?
Correct, sir. This is what the whole presentation was centered about. If you see, companies, as you rightly said, DMAT is not only for companies that are incorporated recently or unicorns which are incorporating themselves recently. This is for all types of private limited companies who have been existent for a long time. So any company in India, which incorporated in India, can admit themselves to the depositories at a very nominal cost and at a very fast pace. The documentation has been totally simplified by the government of India. So a typical admission of a private limited company, the depository takes somewhere around 7 to 15 working days only, from the earlier time of 30 days to 60 days, which was there. So the turnaround times have been reduced by nearly 75%. So any private limited company who has its balance sheet in order and they have audited their last financial year properly, are eligible to admit themselves with the depositories. And it takes only 7 to 15 days to get the company admitted and have an ISIN number. ISIN number is the identification number of the equity shares or other instruments which you wish to demat. So the whole physical certificate scenario which you said, the internal family members grow, certificates are moved around from one family member to another. So the current shareholders who at that point of admission of the depositories can proceed with demat of the shares. So what happens is, when you start dematting the shares of the company, the whole register of members is consolidated at a single point at the register and transfer agent end. And every week you'll get the register of members to know who are the shareholders of the company who are holding shares in demat. And the other major advantage if you have demat is transfer. In case of physical transfers, only private limited companies can transfer shares physically now. Public limited companies are not permitted to transfer shares in physical mode now. So what will happen is, once you have shares in demat mode, it is just a matter of issuing a delivery instruction slip from the transferor's end to his DP to credit shares to the new member of the company. And the major advantage is the stamp duty saving which can happen when you transfer shares in demat. There's a 0.05% differential in the stamp duty rate for transfer shares between physical mode and demat mode. So that is what demat does wonders to your shareholding and allows you to eliminate paperwork fully and keeps you updated to the register of members on every Friday basis. That is when the depository will download the data for every company in the country who has dematted their shares. So every Friday there will be something called a beneficiary position download from the depository, which will give you the latest list of register of members of the company. And another major private limited company requirement as per Companies Act is, no shareholder can transfer shares without taking a prior approval of the company. That is what Companies Act 2013 clearly says as far as transfer of shares in private limited companies is concerned. So now depositories have come up with a mechanism wherein ISIN shares, once dematted, the whole ISIN can be kept in suspended state by the company. So as and when the company sees a request or sees a requirement to unfreeze the ISIN for any transaction, they can do that and allow the shareholders to do the transaction, then freeze the ISIN back. So this gives you greater level of control, proper compliance at a very cost-effective rate. Because once you start holding certificates in physical, questions like duplicate will come, transmission will come, transfer in physical mode will come. When you transfer in physical mode, you'd end up paying higher stamp duty to the government. So there are multiple benefits which the company can
Is there a cap on the paid up capital or anything like this?
I didn't get your question, sir. Can you please repeat?
Is there a minimum paid up capital or something that you need for this, or is there any minimum criteria or requirement?
There is no such thing, sir. Any company having an audited balance sheet stipulated as per the last financial year closure period. That means you have to have your audit done and your balance sheet should be ready for the last financial year. If you are before September, the previous financial year. If you are applying after September, the current financial year. So you need to have your balance sheet audited and approved by the company. So that is all.
Thank you.
That is all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Giridhar and Mr. Chandrasekhar. HCC is proud to have Integrated Enterprises India Limited as its member. I now call upon Mr. Vijay P. Chodia, President-elect Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to propose vote of thanks.
Vijay?
Yeah, he's there, sir.
Yeah. We need, we can request Mr. Linesh to do that.
No, he's around. I can.
Hello.
He's
yeah.
there.
Sorry, my video was not switching on, and there's some problem in the audio also.
Yeah.
Looks like. Anyway, I have great pleasure in proposing a formal vote of thanks to Mr. Chandrasekhar and Mr. Giridhar. You have listed out a range of corporate services provided by Integrated, as well as the support you extend for demat of securities issued in physical mode, as well as support for the compliance and secretarial services for all, as well as all the corporate solutions. I'm sure the participants must have found the presentation very useful. The presentation was very simple and well presented. You have an impressive range of clients that speaks the volumes of the confidence the companies have in you. So thank you, Mr. Chandrasekhar, Mr. Giridhar.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.